What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. You saw the title and the thumbnail. We're talking about what I believe to be the perfect 5 mix of Manceras for the cold weather. We've been getting cold everywhere, snow, ice, all that good stuff all across America. Even here in the South, there's still ice on the ground 3 days after the snow. So it's frosty with some great Mancera fragrances for this weather, right? You came to the right place. Let's talk about them. Stay tuned. Starting with a big time favorite for you sweet fragrance fans. Not as much coffee as you might think, but we're talking about Mancera's Amore Cafe. So Amore Cafe is well beloved. We're talking about sugar cookies and coffee, basically. I mean big time sugar cookies and coffee. It has a vanilla ice cream accord, amaretto, which does give a little bit of a boozy hit, but not so much. Man, that sugar cookie smell, I gotta say, with some coffee. It's sweet coffee and coffee and cookies. Basically what you can look at. About as gourmand as it gets. And this type of weather is gourmand weather. That's really the only time that I like to wear stuff like this. Big fan. I understand where a lot of people love this fragrance. I personally think if you want a Mancera with a little bit more coffee and less sweet, well, less gourmand sweet anyways, I think Oud Cafe would be the way to go. But if you like the gourmand stuff, the edible type fragrances, and you don't want any oud to deal with, this is it. This is definitely it. Perfectly unisex. Everybody can enjoy this that likes gourmands. You got to have a sweet tooth though, because it's definitely going to make you want some sugar cookies. It's making me want one. That's why I keep sniffing it. So if you got a sweet tooth, maybe this fragrance isn't a good idea, but it's strong enough to cut through the cold, and it's nice and cozy and delicious. It is Mancera's Amore Cafe. Next, we're talking earthy, spicy, syrupy, sweet, and woodsy. It is Mancera's Silver Blue. Such a poorly named and bottled colored fragrance. Don't get me wrong, it looks beautiful. The blue and this like almost gunmetal like silver. It's not a blue fragrance. Caramel, syrupy caramel, patchouli, cinnamon, labdanum. I believe there's a little bit of oud in here. A bunch of cinnamon spice. This is one of Pierre Montal's best creations. This stuff is special. Those of you that have Nichane's Papi Le Fico, it's very similar. Obviously, the caramel is a big difference maker, but the majority of the profile, that earthy, woody, spicy smell, pretty much Papi Le Fico with caramel. It's a darker, sweeter Papi Le Fico. So if you have that, Papi Le Fico is a bit more versatile. If you're looking to knife through the cold, Silver Blue is probably the one for you. I gotta pull that cap and sniff it again. So good. The caramel. Nice and syrupy. When it comes to gourmand fragrances, caramel note will sucker me in. That's my preferred sweet note in a delicious fragrance because I love caramel. My favorite candy on the planet is Cadbury caramel eggs. So, terrible time of the year for me to be in prep for a show because Easter's around the corner. The Cadbury eggs are already out. I've been seeing them at Walmart, but I can't eat them. But I can smell this. This can hold me off because I get plenty of caramel. Again, a lot of oak moss and cinnamon. You got to like stuff like that. If you want a special experience and, again, something that'll knife through this cold weather, check out the inappropriately named Mancera Silver Blue. Here's a favorite for a lot of people. This is an absolute monster. Sweet fragrance will knife through the cold. Burnt sugar, heavy on the florals and amberwood, though. In the vein of a Baccarat Rouge 540, it is Mancera's Instant Crush. A big-time favorite for people. Jasmine, ginger, saffron, a lot of vanilla, and amberwood. Strong amberwood. It's a more synthetic fragrance for the Mancera offerings, but this stuff's a beast. It's basically a more floral twist. Floral twist in general, like heavy floral twist on Baccarat Rouge 540. Technically a little bit more feminine than BR 540, I feel, but adds elegance to a gentleman's wardrobe. So there's a lot of guys that love this fragrance, and I'm definitely one of them. My buddy Justin's a big fan of this one. He don't have a ton of Manceras that he reaches for, but he's definitely an Instant Crush guy, and not a lot of sprays are needed here, guys. This one's crazy powerful. We're gonna get a little spritz in the air. Man, not over the top spicy like you would think seeing saffron. It does add to that sugary sweet smell of Baccarat Rouge 540. But again, note, white floral heavy, not a super powdery fragrance though, but super powerful nonetheless. It's great to cut through the cold. I think it's really just perfect. You need the cold because it's just so freaking strong. It's Mancera's Instant Crush. In my opinion, a superior version to its predecessor. In every way, it brings the leather, the spices, the orientals, and the woods to the forefront and mutes some of that pungent, over-the-top sweetness in the opening. We're talking about intense red tobacco. I would take this 10 out of 10 times over original red tobacco. And red tobacco is a classic. There was a time when red tobacco was my favorite tobacco fragrance. I think this is better. It's still red tobacco's DNA, but it's so much more leather, spice, and wood forward. Again, it takes that sweetness and dials it back. It's not gone. It still smells like red tobacco. It is very redundant, extremely redundant to having the original, just like having Intense Cedrat Boisé with the original. They offer different things, and if you're a huge fan of the original, you definitely should check out the intense versions. They are worth having. If like Cedrat Boisé is your thing, you'll probably very much enjoy having the counter of it. You know, the kind of the warmer weather version with the intense, whereas this I feel is more of a privé flanker than an intense flanker because it's not stronger than red tobacco. That red tobacco is stronger than intense red tobacco. This is still a beast. It's not as monstrous as red tobacco's original flanker, original fragrance, but it's more wearable and it's refined. So that's why I think red tobacco privé personally would have been a better name, but hey, who am I? I'm not Pierre Montal. He can do what he wants. He can do whatever he wants with his fragrances, and I'm glad he created this. I think this is a superior version. Still knife through the cold, still high compliment factor, even more masculine and not over the top. Because the opening is a bit challenging for some. It's not, which I don't find it to be, but I know I've seen a lot of feedback where that was the issue with some people for red tobaccos. The opening was just too much. You should try this one. It is incredible for the cold weather. It's intense red tobacco. Lastly, we got a Rose Amber Vanilla that will knock your socks off, honestly. Very affordable stuff from most discounters. Link below. I think it's like 60-something bucks for a 4-ounce, 4.2-ounce bottle. Yeah, they're 120 mLs. We're talking about Mancera's Royal Vanilla. Hashtag Vanilla is life. This one has a little pearl jewel on top of the cap. This stuff's incredible. Very rose heavy. Very, very rose. There's two different types of rose. This one does lean a little feminine, fellas. It's a fresh, watery rose, like a Turkish rose, rose water kind of thing going on. Thick vanilla caramel combo. This stuff's monstrous. Very regal and elegant and classy for being a vanilla, but still manages to be cozy, attractive, and delicious. It's actually really one of the best vanillas Pierre Montal's created. He's got a lot of vanilla fragrances across Mancera and Montal. He does. A lot. So he's got a lot of ouds, a lot of roses, he's got a lot of vanillas. In this case, it's vanilla and rose. And it is magnificence. If you're the type that likes rose, gentlemen, yeah, you gotta like vanilla too, obviously. I mean, its focal point, as in the name, is vanilla. Royal Vanilla is a fitting name because it does come across a bit, for being vanilla, it's a bit regal. Classy, if you will. Dare I say, a vanilla you could probably dress up pretty easily. And it's an absolute monster of a performer. It's kind of unnecessary how strong it is. But if it's really cold and windy outside, hot butter knife through butter, slicing right through that cold, cutting right through that wind. This stuff is powerful. 3, 4, 5 sprays if you're feeling frisky is plenty. And I love when I say that and somebody's like, 8 sprays minimum. If you feel you need 8 sprays of this, 8 to 10, fuck it, 15. If you're going to do 8, why not do 15? You won't smell it for long. But everybody around you and the next room over will, because this stuff is an absolute monster. It's Royal Vanilla. Well, that was a quick 5 that will knife through the cold. Is this the only 5 that are really good from Mancera to do the job? No. But I felt like this was such a great time to do this since this week's been just so frigid for everyone. And you know, I'm known for Mancera and Montal for having such a massive collection between the two brands. Full bottles alone, I have like 70 bottles of his work, of Pierre Montal's work, not counting decants and samples and stuff. But man, I just love his creations. They're super versatile. There's a lot of variety. They're affordable. They perform well. They have nuance. They're beginner level stuff, but I think everybody can enjoy at least a few Manceras in their collection. And if you're looking for stuff in the cold, I feel like this is a great offering of some classier stuff, some easier going stuff, some more serious stuff, but all some monstrous stuff to cut through the cold. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe before you leave, and I'll catch you on the next one.